the issue is not the porn. The porn is being used for women to hide behind to bash the men. That's all this is about. A couple of weeks ago, I believe her name is Allie Beth Stuckey or something like that. Allie something. She's a popular Republican Christian podcaster, and a video was circulating online. You know me, I stay on X, so I saw it on X, where she was, I think it was a conference somewhere, and she was giving a speech, and during a section of her speech, she talked to men about the need for strong men and how porn was kind of weakening them and challenging them to, stop watching pornography.
Porn has weakened men. And Charlie was so good at talking about this and so good at talking so courageously and sternly and clearly to the young men. Here's what we know about porn and why it is so detrimental, not only to men, although it disproportionately affects men. Porn objectifies women and children. It commercializes sex, which is a gift from God for a married couple between one man and one woman, and it glorifies violence. It creates addiction and shame. It destroys marriages. It ruins your perception of other people. It is the legal loophole for sex trafficking. It is evil in every way, and it will destroy your life. And this is what I would want to say to men, and I hope that you hear it from strong men in your life, that men, we need you, and we need your masculinity, and we need your strength, and we need your boldness, and we need your courage, and we need those things to be harnessed for good. We need you to be solid pastors. We need you to be strong leaders. We need your voice. We need you to bravely stand up for the most vulnerable, to stand up for women and children and for the unborn, to raise a respectful ruckus for the things that matter. We need really strong men, and porn makes you weak.
And this led to a lot of conversation about, should she be up there talking to men? Does a woman have a right to go up and talk about the ills of men? Should men just be criticizing men? And that conversation went on for a couple of days. But for this video, I'm not too focused on that, right? After that happened, and the conversation of whether or not Allie should be talking on this issue at all and to men, then the conversation morphed onto Christian men and pornography being a huge issue, right? And you were seeing a lot of Christian women on Twitter /X talking about pornography and how it destroys the soul, and how if you are a wife, you absolutely have a right to voice your displeasure with your husband watching pornography and all of this stuff. And then recently I saw Pearly Things, and she was interviewing a woman named, or having a conversation with a woman named, I think, Lila Rose, who I've seen a couple of times as well. And, they were also talking about pornography again. And, Pearl was making the point that it's not Lila's job or position to be lecturing men on what to do.
It's not like men are given advice that is not on morality. It's not like there's a special morality just for men when it comes to sex and a special morality for women. The sexual morality that we're given, not by me, not by you, by God and natural law, God's natural law, and also you can see it through divine revelation and the tradition of the church, is a morality for both men and women, married and unmarried. And its core is chastity, which is virtue. Men are called to it and women are called to it. And when men aren't living virtue or women aren't living in virtue, both of them can become increasingly haywire. We hurt each other. Then the war of the sexes commences. So speaking against porn is not just about men, it's about men and women.
Yeah, I think that you will lose more people than you help, because no men want to be nagged by women about what they should and shouldn't do. And as I've said before, any woman that tells men what to do is a feminist, because you are applying that you have authority and you are equal. And I don't think you are. So I would say we are subordinates.
On this issue here, I think Christian men in the evangelical space, their bullshit meter is going off on, all these Christian women talking about pornography. And I think the meter is going off for good reason here, because I don't think any of this stuff has anything to do with these women trying to call out sin and looking out for your soul, or however they're framing it. I'm not buying that at all. Women are extremely susceptible to social contagion. Now, human beings have this problem, in general, but women are extremely susceptible to like trends and, the power of suggestion. They are, significantly more concerned with how they are perceived and what others think about them than men are. And again, these studies go on and on and on and on. And so if you've been paying attention, there's been like an anti-porn movement that has been kind of taking place in America specifically. And I believe, as I said before, social contagion, it has found its way amongst the church. And women are using scripture to hide behind, to use pornography as the battering ram to use against men. I think this entire thing is really just anti-male. There's a strong anti-male energy going on right now in this country, right? And probably in many Western countries, you just feel it. You feel it. You see it everywhere. We're living in this time where to be a man or to be masculine or to find nothing wrong with the way men operate, the way men view the world is viewed as problematic and, toxic. And everything is in the pro-woman category. Men should be more like women. Men should be more empathetic like women. Men should engage with their friends like women. Men should go to therapy at the same rates as women, right? It's an anti-male sentiment sweeping the country. And so I think these Christian women, they are frustrated with men, Christian men. Primarily, there seems to be a lot of conversation about Christian men not wanting to get married. A lot of Christian women, seem to be going to church, looking for a husband, can't find it. So they're frustrated. They believe that, the Christian men aren't holding up their end of the bargain as far as, looking to become husbands and fathers at the same time frame as women are. And they're using pornography to hide behind, to air their frustration with Christian men. I think Christian men are correctly seeing this for what it is. They can't put their finger on it because men, on average, we engage in conflict in a very above board manner, generally speaking. Sometimes that's a physical altercation between men, but often it's really just kind of a verbal altercation, but it's direct. It's above board. I'm saying what I mean what I say, and we go back and forth. Women seem to engage in what I would classify as below the board level of engagement, right? Where reputation damage, gossiping, speaking about an issue, but really their problem is about something underneath the issue. And there's been, again, a lot of research about this topic. But because of these two different styles of dealing with conflict and trying to resolve issues, men can kind of feel when there's a female attack coming their way, but they can't really defend well against it or put their finger on what's going on because, again, it's below board, and men, we're used to dealing with above board. And for most of human history, men and women were not in like these direct levels of conflict for the most part. Women kind of kept to amongst themselves, and men operated amongst men. And so we didn't really evolve to develop these tools to have the levels of conflict that we have today with the opposite sex. All right, but again, I believe the Christian men are onto something, and they are in the correct here. The reason why I believe they are correct is because while on the surface, Christian women calling out pornography is correct by the letter of the law. If you are a Christian woman, yes, pornography, watching people, have sex, hardcore sex. You are only supposed to be having sex with your partner, watching your wife being naked, all that good stuff, right? Here's the thing though. Why are we harping on this particular sin? The Bible is filled with discussions about various sins. You have pride, ego, sexual immorality, failure to be obedient. There are a bunch of areas in which human beings fall short in the Christian worldview. What is this thing about porn? Now, the Christian women will say, well, this is a particularly heavy issue that our men are dealing with right now. And sometimes as a Christian body, you kind of, latch on to things that might be particular issues, right? Jim Crow was a big issue that many churches focused on at one point. Slavery was a big issue that many churches focused on, right? So this isn't out of the ordinary, they might say. And there is some validity to that. But I think the reason why, the Christian men have a right to raise their eyebrows is Jesus was the kind of guy that he kind of didn't just speak about the letter of the law. He spoke about the reasoning behind the law. if you get my drift. This is where, I think it was Jesus' Sermon on the Mount where he talked about it's not enough to just not kill your neighbor. You're not supposed to hate your neighbor. If you have hated your neighbor or you have hatred in your heart, it is almost as bad as killing your neighbor. And he would go on and on and on. And he was very focused on, just as important as the actual letter of the law, you have to have the right spirit in these things. And here's where I'm going. If Christian women are going to talk about, men who are Christians watching pornography and the dangers of that, Christian men could just as easily talk about, okay, well, why do you Christian women ornament yourselves to such a degree? You look at these women from Allie to Lila, and a lot. I think the girls go on Bible, and these women look like worldly women for the most part. They got a bunch of caked up faces and makeup on, blush on their cheeks, eyelashes all done and undid, right? Nothing about these women look set apart from worldly women. And if Jesus was alive, I think you would imagine he would look at these women and say, okay, what are you doing? Right? Like, again, why are you ornamenting yourself to this degree? I feel kind of strong in saying this because is you caking up your face, glorifying me in any type of way, shape, or form? What about the hundreds and thousands of Christian women who can't help but be narcissists and take pictures of themselves on their Instagram? Why are you so enamored with yourself? This is a worldly thing. Doesn't get discussed, but this is a worldly thing. To be so obsessed with your earrings and your eyelashes and your lipstick and your makeup and these jeans fit my hips just right and this jacket looks so well with these shoes, and like all of these things to me strike me as things that Jesus would look at you like, what are y'all doing? This also reminds me of a verse where I think Jesus was talking to his disciples, and or maybe it was a crowd, one of the two, and he started speaking about not concerning themselves about clothing. And he tells them, why are you concerned about what you're going to wear? Surely God will, he'll provide for you. And to be clear, he wasn't making a point that clothes would fall from the sky. That wasn't his point. The point he was making is, dude, you'll find something to put on your body. Some type of rags you'll be able to put across your private parts. You'll find some dirty tunic to put on. You shouldn't concern yourself with these things. You trying to tell me Jesus, who told these men this thing, would look at these Christian women who spend all day, on Instagram taking pictures and wearing all this makeup and not tell them, why are you so concerned with what you look like? Of course he would. But that doesn't get preached. That doesn't get discussed. Why? Because the issue is not the porn. The porn is being used for women to hide behind, to bash the men. That's all this is about. And I'm proud and happy that the Christian men in the evangelical space seem to have been able to put a finger on this. They can't verbalize it, but something feels wrong about it. And I'm proud that they're standing up saying, nah, we're not going. Let me know how you feel about this video. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I actually would love to hear from some of you Christian evangelicals down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. A great video to start the week. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. Until next time, deuces.